Good morning. Thank you for the opportunity to share with you my research on the markers of primary aldosteronism and left ventricular mass. The left ventricle is a very important part of the heart that pumps blood throughout the whole body. When the left ventricular wall becomes very thick, this is called left ventricular hypertrophy. This makes the left ventricle to be weaker and less elastic, making it harder to pump blood effectively and eventually progress into heart failure. It's a strong predictor of cardiovascular deaths. So, what causes this? High blood pressure is the best known cause. Another much less well known is primary aldosteronism, which affects 1 in 10 people with high blood pressure, but is only diagnosed in less than 1 in 1,000. The culprit here is the adrenal glands, causing excess production of a hormone called aldosterone, suppresses renin, and providing a higher aldosterone to renin ratio, thereby causing salt retention and uncontrolled blood pressure. We know that left ventricular hypertrophy is more common in primary aldosteronism than people with essential hypertension, and that targeted treatment can reverse this partially. We also know that aldosterone concentration is positively correlated with left ventricular mass index, but even at normal levels. But these study participants were older, with a mean age of 57 years. We wanted to know if aldosterone, renin, and aldosterone to renin ratio are associated with left ventricular mass index in young adults, as this can be treated early with aldosterone blocking medications to prevent cardiovascular diseases. We analyzed the data of the Gen 2 participants of the Raine study at age 27 years. Females on hormonal contraceptions were excluded, as our previous study shows that it affects aldosterone to renin ratio. Data were collected from questionnaires and clinic visits. Left ventricular mass index was measured by cardiac MRI. Aldosterone and renin concentrations were measured in stored blood samples by PathWest. We included a total of 758 participants, 506 males and 252 females. Using multiple linear regression, we found that the markers of primary aldosteronism was associated with higher left ventricular mass index after adjusting for cardiac risk factors. In males, it was the aldosterone concentrations. In females, it was the aldosterone to renin ratio. We know that blood pressure may increase left ventricular mass index. However, using mediation analysis, we did not find a relationship between blood pressure and the markers of primary aldosteronism. Therefore, in our study, blood pressure did not mediate their relationship with left ventricular mass index. In summary, we found an association between the markers of primary aldosteronism and higher left ventricular mass index in the youngest and largest cohort. This is consistent with what we know about the direct cardiovascular effect of aldosterone excess that's independent of blood pressure. To better understand the clinical association of this association, longer-term follow-up of these young individuals is required to determine whether we need to screen them for primary aldosteronism early and whether early intervention is required. Thank you.
Thanks, Roshan, for your interesting presentation. Any question?
Okay, we'll put a pedometer on you. That was very interesting, thank you. I'm just interested in gender differences in these research. You know, obviously we've excluded women so much in the past from any randomised trials and things like cardiovascular disease. That's changing rapidly now. But those gender differences are very interesting. How do you interpret them?
To be honest, we are not too sure why that's the case. We know that there was a sex difference in the aldosterone to renin ratio as when we measured at age 27 years, where women had a higher aldosterone to renin ratio compared to the male cohort. But when we look at aldosterone concentration by itself, there was no difference in the sex in the median aldosterone concentration. Perhaps with age, we can see the correlation between the aldosterone to renin ratio and left ventricular mass index become more evident in both sexes. We would really love to follow up these young adults over time to track how it changed.
Thank you. Any more questions? Okay. If not, let's thanks again our presenter.